Good afternoon, hello, or good morning if you're watching this somewhere else in the world or tomorrow or whatever. Hello, welcome. We're going to be talking today about 5 ways that you can get back on track without guilt or shame. So if you make a different choice, how can we work with that and continue making our healthy choices without feeling guilty or ashamed that we made a different choice? So we'll chat about that today in this live. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for hanging out with us during this bundle event. We love you all so much. We appreciate you hanging in. Hello, everybody hopping into this live. If you have any questions, obviously, we are here to help you. If you have struggles and challenges, we love to be able to brainstorm with you, maybe give you some different ideas so that you can continue making your healthy choices, whether that be a raw food diet, a high raw diet, vegan diet, or you're trying to get your sleep on point, your exercise on point, or whatever it is, right? We all have these healthy habits, whatever that is for you. Sometimes we make different decisions, and in order to stay away from being guilty about them or feeling ashamed or regretful or anything like that, because that's what we have all really been taught, that we're bad or somehow we aren't good or we're not good enough, and we tie our identity a lot into our actions. And again, we've been taught this a lot growing up. And if you do something bad, you're bad, and you aren't bad necessarily, right? Like, you are not bad. You just made a different choice. So I wanted to go over 5 kind of tips or ideas or things that you could do or think about if you do happen to make a different choice. Like if you're trying to go to bed early and one night you went to bed late, instead of feeling guilty or ashamed, we can talk about these things. If you choose something that's not raw and you're trying to do raw, it was just a choice. So we're going to talk about some of those things. The first thing would be to remind yourself of your why. So if you make a different choice, instead of feeling guilty or ashamed or bad, think about your why instead. You have to, the second thing is to not label the thing that you did. Like, we tend to label things. Like if we do go to bed late, we label that as bad. Or if we eat maybe some junk food or what have you, we label it as bad. If we miss our workout, we label that as bad. And if we can release the labeling of these things and we think of it as being neutral, we label it because of what we believe is better. There's other things that could be better choices. And this is true. But for the purpose of releasing guilt and shame, the goal is to have the choice that you made be neutral, completely neutral. And when we release the need to label them, we stop labeling our own identity, tying it in with our actions. So because you chose to go to bed late one night does not make you a bad person, and that choice isn't necessarily inherently bad. It's neutral. You just chose that. That was the choice that you made at that moment, and you happened to go to bed late. Or if you are trying to follow a raw diet and you ate something that wasn't raw, instead of feeling guilty, don't label what you ate as bad. Just say, I made that choice and it was just a choice. That's all it was. I am not a bad person for making that choice. I made that choice for specific reasons, which we will go into as third step or third tip. But thinking of it as a neutral thing, and then thinking of your why. Why do you want to go to bed early? Why do you want to eat more raw food? Why do you want to get up and do your workouts? What are the reasons? And we can have many, many, many different reasons for these specific things. So we want to make sure that we don't label them, because when we label them, we label ourselves, and that can be really challenging because we already label ourselves for so many other things. We don't need to be telling ourselves that going to bed late one night is bad and so we're bad. So release the label and then go over your why. And then the third step or tip would be to, instead of thinking of it as a mistake, because a lot of people will say, I made a mistake on my diet, or I made a mistake on my new habits, or mistake. Slip up is another word that a lot of people use. I slipped up. I did something bad or whatever. Instead of that, again, neutral. It's neutral. It was just a choice. Instead of calling it a mistake, call it a learning opportunity. So when you make a different choice, it was just a learning opportunity for you to learn more about why you made that choice. And when we can be curious, when we can be exploratory with ourselves, when it comes to our choices, we can learn more about ourselves and about why we made these specific choices. Did we go to bed late because we were watching a movie, or because we didn't want to go to bed, or because we got up late in the morning and we didn't get enough or proper sleep the night before? Or what was the reason why you went to bed late? Were you scrolling on your phone because you're stressed out? That could be a reason as well. But again, none of these are inherently bad. They're just choices. And when we put neutrality on those, we can look at everything. We can be curious without the guilt or shame, because the guilt or shame is really what stop us from going further with our new habits and that kind of thing. So first, again, remind yourself of your why, and then don't label your choice, and then think of it as a learning opportunity. So go over why you did the thing that you did, and then try to figure out how you can do things differently. So if you are having challenges with a raw diet, maybe it's because you're not eating enough. Maybe it's because you skipped lunch. Maybe it's because you didn't plan. Maybe you didn't have a list of meals that you were going to make. Maybe you don't have specific staples on hand to make things that you really want to. Maybe you don't have a fallback five. Maybe you're stressed out. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're bored. What is the reason that you made that specific choice? And then once you can discover that reason, then you can learn from it. You can say, okay, well, next time, tomorrow, I'm going to make sure I plan my meals. I'm going to make sure that I don't skip lunch. I'm going to make sure that I eat enough. I am going to practice mindfulness before eating. I'm going to try to slow down so that I'm not so stressed, and that I need other things, right, to cope with the stress, trying to find other things to cope with the stress. So when we can look at it with a neutral feeling, or neutral vibes, then we can genuinely learn from those choices. Again, they're not mistakes. They're just different choices that you can learn from. So make sure that you do that. And then the fourth tip would be to think of all the positive things that you have been doing. That is so important, to think of all the positive things, because a lot of times when we make a different choice, again, it's not a mistake. It's a hard one to stop saying. I work really hard at that in my language when I'm talking here on social media or on YouTube or whatever. I try to never say mistake. It's really hard because I have to catch myself. It's something that we have all grown up with and we've all been taught. It's a mistake, but it's not a mistake. It's a learning opportunity. It's a chance for us to learn more about ourselves. So it's not bad. It's just a different choice. So when you make a different choice, think of all the positive things that you've been doing in your life, because a lot of times that one little choice, for example, say you are trying to go raw and you ate something cooked, instead of feeling guilty and ashamed that you made that choice, think of all the positive choices that you already have made. Many people will take that negative choice and run with it, and then all of a sudden everything they're doing isn't good enough. No matter what they're doing, this one little choice made it so now they feel guilty and ashamed and all that stuff. So instead, think of all the positive things that you have been doing and be grateful to yourself for making all of these positive changes in your life. Even though you made a different choice, that's okay. You've got all these other choices that you've also made. So it proves to you that you can make good choices. And this is super, super powerful when you are changing your habits, to reflect on all of the times that you have practiced your good habit and take that with you, instead of putting so much heavy emphasis on the mistake that you made, because it's not a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. So if you are having struggles with feeling guilty or regretful or ashamed, you can do these things. Go over your why, don't label it, think of all the positive things that you've been doing. And also, what was the other one? That was to label, don't label it, obviously, but to call it a learning opportunity instead of a mistake. And then the final one is to start using positive affirmations whenever you make a different choice. So if you make a different choice, give yourself a lot of grace, compassion, and self-love. And encouragement. Encourage yourself to continue making these positive choices and to not use that one event as the be-all end-all of everything, because a lot of people do that, and I used to do that a lot in the past too. I would make a different choice. I would make a different choice, and then I would put so much weight on that. I would be like, I ruined my week, which is not true. One choice that's off your plan is not ruining your week. It's just a different choice that you made at that time. And something that I will tell people who will say, oh, well, I've been raw for 280 days or whatever, and I ate something cooked, so now I have to start from day one. And I'm like, well, if you start from day one, it kind of feels like it negates everything you did for the last 280 days. So now you're starting from day one, you got to start from day one. And suddenly, like, all of those other days don't seem to matter. It's this day one, you have to start fresh, right? But instead of that, what I like to encourage people to do is go to the next day, so 281 days. You had 281 days with one different choice. So that honors those 280 days that you were making positive choices, and you're continuing on with your journey. You're moving forward. You're making better choices, and you are empowering yourself, encouraging yourself. It's so super important. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And also, don't forget to get the ultimate raw vegan bundle. My mama is in the chat. Hello, mama. Miss you. It's good to see you. But yes, grab the ultimate raw vegan bundle. The link is in my bio, so you can get to the link via up here. You can just click up here, go to my main page, and the link is in my bio. Go grab the bundle, because inside the bundle, you are getting 32 absolutely brand new pieces of content. There are no duplicates from past bundles. Everything is brand new. We all are releasing our brand new content for you in this bundle. And it's got the sushi ebook in there. So if you were wanting to get the sushi ebook, this is the only place that you can get it right now. Once the bundle is over, then it will go into my ebook store. But right now, the only place to get the sushi book is in the bundle. So if you want to support us, and if you want to support yourself, please go grab the bundle and download all of the amazing content that we have for you. Nate's got his brand new seed cracker ebook. There's some dips in there to go with your crackers. And we have Sky Conway, Roar Sky, has her dinners recipe ebook in there. Karen Ramsey has an ebook with Feather Smith. It's called Rawthentic. Chef AJ and I wrote volume 4 of the Make It Raw series. The black licorice recipe is in there. That's one that everyone seems to be so super excited about. Not everyone likes black licorice. I love black licorice. So that recipe is in there, and it tastes just like black licorice. It's so, so, so good, and there's only 3 ingredients. Blink of an Eye says, thanks for sharing some wisdom, Lissa. You're super, super welcome. I'm glad that I can share my wisdom here with you, and I love you all so much, and thank you for joining in the lives and for enduring the bundle promotions. I know there's a lot going on this week, but we really want to share this opportunity because, again, we're releasing all of our brand new content all at once in this bundle. So there's nearly $1,400 worth of brand new raw vegan content for $50. That's all you pay. Velvetish Rose says, love the bundle. I get them every year. Thank you so much for the ongoing support. We truly appreciate that. And we try to put our best into the bundles. And my sushi book has 160 recipes in it. There would have been more had I had more time, but yeah, 160 recipes. There's sushi rolls. There's all different kinds of colors and different types of sushi rolls. There's different fillings to go in them. There's toppings and sprinkles and sauces and dips and drizzles and pastes. There's wasabi, there's raw vegan living ginger, the sushi ginger. That's my favorite ginger of all time. I like it better than the restaurant ginger or even the store-bought ginger for sushi that I've had in the past. Again, since going raw, it's hard to find some of these things. So making your own ginger is so great. So that recipe is in there too. There's ferments, there's a kimchi, there's the lion's mane, the marinated lion's mane recipes, along with the breaded lion's mane, the katsu, so good. The okonomiyaki pancakes are in there as well, and the gyoza dumplings made with the nori sheets, which is a super fun and unique creative recipe. I love the filling for those. It's so delicious. So I hope you get the bundle. Again, the link is in my bio or in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube, to go and grab yourself the 2025 Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. All raw, all new, all yours for $50. So go grab that if you want to support us and you want to support yourself with adding more raw food. My mama says, yum, I'm buying. I hope you enjoy some sushi recipes. They're so much fun, and I got really super creative. While I was making the sushi, I was remembering when I was little, I would make little pieces, like I would use clay. And there's like those home movies, I don't know where they are, but there was like the little home movies where I was like showing off the grapes and the bananas on my plate. That was so cool. And I thought of that while I was making the sushi. That was so much fun, because I'm an artist. I love to paint and draw and create things with clay, and photography is a big passion of mine as well. So making the sushi was like making art to me, and I had so much fun decorating it, putting the avocado on the top. So much fun. So I hope everybody enjoys. You don't have to get as fancy as me if you don't have the time, but you can definitely roll it. And my mom says my sweet man loves sushi. Oh, I would love for you to make some raw sushi for him. There's a carrot zucchini sushi, which is super delicious. Or any of the cauliflower ones. You can bloom some black forbidden rice and put that in there too if you want. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of sushis in there. Whole Food Plant-Based Donna says, got the bundle from you, Lissa. So excited to go through it. Thank you very much for the support. And yes, I hope you enjoy all the goodies. There are so many awesome new things in there for you to enjoy. And in Chef AJ's ebook, there's the deconstructed sushi salad. It's also in the sushi book because I couldn't decide which book to put it in. So I put that one in both. But it's a deconstructed sushi salad that we made at the Mexico ranch, Rancho La Puerta, where we got Dove, our cat. That sushi salad looked so good. I didn't try it, obviously, because there was cooked rice in there, but I wanted to make a raw version. So there's a raw version in Make It Raw 4 and in the sushi ebook. There's also her spicy peanut noodles that Nate absolutely adores. He loves it. He wants to make it and have it this week. So he actually went out to the grocery store to buy more cucumbers so we could make it. Because it is so delicious. That recipe is in Make It Raw Volume 4 that you also get in the bundle. And we're also gonna make, again, for the second time, we're making Raw Chef Yin's cashew chicken, which is mushrooms instead of chicken, obviously. But we're making that as well. You get her brand new Chinese takeout, raw vegan Chinese takeout. Her beef and broccoli, the cashew chicken. She has the fortune cookies. I've opened them all, so I don't have any to open, but this is kind of what they look like. I made them. This one I broke open already, but they're fortune cookies. And you even put the fortune inside, and I made all these little fortunes that I put inside, and you just pull them out. It's a very unique, amazing recipe, and you get that recipe when you buy the bundle. Again, it's Yin's recipe. It's in her Chinese takeout course that you get. So that's super fun. Reaching for the prize says, what are good sources of protein? I'm really glad you asked that question. So there is protein or amino acids, because amino acids are kind of like the Lego building blocks of protein. There's protein in all plants. So the goal is to eat enough calories from all plants and you get enough protein. So there's no like super specific source. some things have higher amino acids than others, but everything has different ratios. So it's really about eating a wide variety. And the RDA for protein is already set on the higher end. You know, if you're fairly sedentary, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram. It's not per pound, it's per kilo. That is the RDA is per kilo. So if you're going per pound, that's incorrect. You don't need that much protein. It's per kilo, not per pound. Per kilo, not per pound. So 0.8 if you're sedentary, about 1 to 1.2 per kilo if you are active. If you're really active, 1.2. But again, even then, it's like 60 to 75 grams of protein a day. We don't need to get like 200. It's hard on our kidneys, and all plants have protein. If you're looking for sources that have higher amounts of amino acids, that would be like sprouted peas, chickpeas, lentils, that kind of thing. You can sprout those three. Leafy greens and vegetables, those are higher in protein as well. Cauliflower in the sushi, that's got, nothing's like super high, obviously, because everything has a mix of everything. So it's more about eating variety and making sure you get enough in. So hopefully that helped answer that question. If you have any other questions, please feel free to post in the chat. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have about the raw diet, about the bundle, or anything that you want to chat about. But please go grab the bundle if you haven't yet, because it is such an amazing collection from all of us. We have worked all year on these ebooks for you, and it takes a lot to make an ebook. I don't think people realize how much work goes into these. For example, in the sushi ebook, I refer back to multiple different pages. So like if you're in one recipe and it says, make the cashew cream cheese from page 156 or whatever. I don't know what the page numbers are going to be until the entire ebook is finished and I've done the table of contents. So once I do the table of contents, then I know all the page numbers to all the recipes. Then I can go back and I can look for I write page XX, so I can just search for XX and then I can enter all the page numbers that line up with the table of contents. That task alone, just entering all the pages where it said XX in the file, took 8 hours straight. It was 4 hours one night and then 4 hours the next day just to do that one thing. So much work goes into making these ebooks for you. And like I said, we've been working for a year on our content. And once this bundle is over, we just start over again, and next year we will have new content. I've already got my idea for next year's release. It's going to be really awesome. I will share more about that later. But right now we are celebrating the sushi ebook, which is completed. Again, 160 recipes in the sushi ebook. There are sauces and toppings and ferments and pastes and drizzles and dips and salads and even the miso soup. How to make the miso soup. You really don't have to, it's not like this wow thing, but you just have to, all you have to do is boil the water and then let it cool down to the 115 degrees, the raw temperature. They call it warmed to raw, so you warm up to 115 and that's warm enough for the enzymes and the bacteria to still be alive, so it's still considered a living food. So once the water cools down, then you add it to your miso and you make your miso soup and you have a nice warm bowl. You can put it in the dehydrator if you want to warm it up that way as well. I also recommend, if you're doing something like a miso soup or even a regular raw soup or what have you, to put a ceramic bowl. You want to use ceramic because if you use plastic, it's not really going to work, or glass can work, but ceramic really holds the heat. So if you put a ceramic bowl in the dehydrator about a half an hour or 45 minutes before your meal, the bowl itself will warm up. So then when you add your miso soup or you add your other raw soup to it, which is warm, then everything stays warm a little longer than if you didn't do that. Because if you have a cold ceramic bowl and you add your warm soup to it, that's going to cool off a lot faster than if it's in a warm bowl. So that's a nice little tip for those who want to have warmed to raw soups. 115 degrees Fahrenheit, again, is the temperature that is acceptable in the raw community to maintain the living life force of the food, the enzymes and the probiotics and things like that. So that's why we still eat fermented foods, because those are considered living foods. So we're raw vegans who eat living foods. So even if the food was cooked first, for example, in the case of miso or tempeh, once it's fermented, it becomes alive. The only problem with tempeh is that when you buy it in the store, it's been pasteurized, so it's no longer alive. So we don't buy tempeh in the store because it's been pasteurized, so it's actually no longer a living food. If you can find unpasteurized tempeh, which is pretty rare to find, you can usually get it at farmers markets, or you can make it yourself. If you make it yourself, it's not pasteurized and it's considered a living food. Even though you cook the beans first, they almost like come back to life because the enzyme activity is explosive and the bacterial activity is tenfold or hundredfold or millionfold or whatever it is. It grows so much in the beans that you've cooked, it becomes alive. So it's considered a living food. So we are raw foodies who eat living foods as well, because they are alive. And that's the whole point. The whole point is to eat food that is alive. So that's the goal. And again, as for the topic of this class, if you are eating something that isn't raw or living and you feel guilty about it, there are ways that you can cope with that. Again, find your why. Why are you choosing what you're choosing? Then don't label it. Have it as a neutral thing. It was just a choice. And what was the next one? I have them listed here for you. The third one is to take it as a learning opportunity instead of a mistake. And then think of all the positive things the positive times that you've practiced this new habit instead of that one choice negating everything that you've done, and then start practicing affirmations so that you can reinforce that encouragement within yourself. And you are amazing. You are making these good choices. It's all about progress, not perfection. It has to be possible, not perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. It's an idea that someone has as what is perfect, but perfect can be different for every person. So there is no perfect, because if you try to do one person's perfect and someone looks in and they're like, that's wrong, to them, that's not perfect. So what is really perfect? There is really no perfect. It's all about exploration. It's about trying different things, learning more facts about the food that we're eating. And if there's a fact, then obviously, if it's a fact that it's not healthy for us, then obviously it's something that we don't want to have. But yeah, like planning, preparing, making sure that you get those calories in so you don't make those different choices, learning from your different choices so that you can continue practicing your new habits. Vanny says, I just bought the bundle. Thank you very much. If you want to grab the bundle, link is in my bio or in the description box below. I love it. Thank you for your hard work. I fell in love with your wraps too. So I wanted to ask how much psyllium is safe to eat every day. That is an excellent question. So it really depends. When you're starting out with psyllium, it's recommended to do maybe about a tablespoon a day, which would be in one entire wrap. So if you're only having half a wrap a day, you're having about 1.5 teaspoons of psyllium in half of a wrap, which is a quarter of the recipe. But I would say the max amount that you would want to take, you could totally take this or more, but you're gonna need to drink a lot of water. So when you're using psyllium, you're gonna wanna add more water into your diet. So it's not necessarily that it's bad to have more, but you want to compensate by having enough water so it can flow through you and it can be that broom and sponge and soak up all those toxins. It feeds your microbiome, so it's a really powerful prebiotic. Psyllium is amazing. I am a huge psyllium fan. So I would say a quarter cup is like, you don't need more than a quarter cup. If you're eating more than a quarter cup, even if you're having 2 tablespoons, you're going to want to drink a lot of water, like an extra 500 to 750 mils or even more water. So it's not to fix the psyllium, because the psyllium's not bad. It's to facilitate the psyllium's job. It's like psyllium needs water so that the two of them work together synergistically. So we need to drink more water so the psyllium can do a better job. But I would recommend sticking to around 2 tablespoons is ideal. You can go up to a 1/4 cup, but again, it's not necessary. You don't need that much. And that would be like consuming, I mean, a 1/4 cup is 4 tablespoons. So that would be like eating like 8 wrap halves in a day. That's a lot. Like Nate and I will only have 1 wrap half, or maybe 1 whole wrap, which would be 1 tablespoon through the day worth of psyllium. And again, if you're doing the wraps, drink the water to help the psyllium do its job and to feed your microbiome. So I hope that answered your question. That was a great question. But yeah, psyllium is not bad. It is really good. And if you're not used to consuming psyllium, sometimes people will start with psyllium and they get kind of gassy or bloaty. It's not the psyllium's fault necessarily, because it's your gut that might not be ready for that much. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym and you start lifting 100-pound weights, you risk damaging your muscles. You need to start with where your muscles are strong enough to carry. So if that's 10 pounds, then that's what you would start lifting at. And just like with the psyllium, if you can start with just 1 teaspoon, then that's where your gut needs to start. But it's just like the gym, building muscle takes consistency and it takes increase. So you be consistent with those 10 pounds. You do that for a week or 2, and then your muscles grow and they get stronger. And you're like, wow, now I can lift the 15s. And now I'm doing good with the 15s. You do that for a couple weeks, and then you can do the 20s when you couldn't do the 20s before. And the same goes for your gut. You start with a small amount, you be consistent with it, and with time, your gut grows to be able to handle more psyllium. So then you can challenge it with a little bit extra psyllium and work your way up from there. Vanny says, I could totally eat 8. I'm Mexican and I really missed tortillas. Yeah, you know, if you want to eat 8, I mean, that's a lot of food, but you could technically have 8 in a day. That would be a lot, but you would definitely need to drink an extra at least 2 liters of water to compensate. Not compensate, I don't like using that word because it's not like the psyllium is bad. It just needs that extra water to work through your system. So yeah, I know 8 is a lot though. It is quite a few. I'm sure you could definitely do 4. 4 half wraps would be 2 tablespoons of psyllium, which would be just fine. Make sure you drink a lot of water with that and enjoy those. I'm so glad that you love them. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining. Again, if you have any questions last minute, you can post in the chat. But we are having such a great time. We did the garlic cilantro lime rice on Chef AJ's YouTube channel. That's a bloomed black forbidden rice, raw rice, salad kind of a thing, and we put that in some nori sushi rolls. So if you want to watch that, that's on Chef AJ's YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. That recipe for the garlic cilantro lime rice is in Make It Raw 4, which you do get when you buy the bundle. So you're getting that ebook, you're getting my brand new sushi ebook, you're getting Nate's cracker book, you're getting all of the brand new content from everyone who contributed to this year's bundle. So please go check it out. The link is in my bio or in the description box below. And thank you so much for joining today for this live and for all the lives. We're going to be doing lives all week until Mother's Day. May 11th is when the bundle is over. So please go grab the bundle if you haven't yet. And we will be live again in approximately 2 hours from now. We're going to go live with Raw Chef Yin, and we're going to be talking about tips for making epic raw vegan sushi. So some secrets are going to be revealed in that live. So you're going to want to join in 6 p.m. PST. We will be live with Raw Chef Yin. We'll also be talking about her Chinese takeout course as well, because I absolutely love her recipes. So both of us are in the bundle. You can grab it now if you haven't yet. And we'll be back at 6 p.m. Thank you so much for joining. I love you all endlessly as always. Until the next live, fruit on.